Hello, Grings. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so this is maybe a kind of a heavy one, but let's see, Atlantis Civil War and History Recall and the Elf Realms, the Middle Earth. So go backwards a little bit. So you see all this in the media right now about Where are the Rings, uh, was it Game of Thrones? I think there's some elves in that somewhere. I don't pay that much attention to it. Okay, I don't pay any attention to it, but I know Lord of the Rings has elf people in there. And so it's giving us a hint of how people used to look here. Uh, Not everybody looked like that, but there were, having the pointy ears was normal for us. It's different variations of humans in the past. It's also blue humans, and obviously it was a lot different. Of course, I don't remember. We remember parts of it. Some are just dead set. They have all the answers. Like, that's fine. Whatever works for you. And we'll love it with spirituality. Something like, I guess in their own personal journey, they feel like they have all the answers or something like that. But like they're the ones on the right track and all that. It's like, it's fine, whatever. Whatever works for you. Just whatever. Some of it's getting a little bit clicky. But either way, so this is kind of a download. I think I've talked about this stuff in the past, but we'll go into it again. It's been a while for Atlantean. So at least I've been feeling this. I guess I've been feeling this a little bit recently of how the Atlanteans were kind of snobbish, arrogant. Not all of them, but some of them. But they can do no wrong and all that. Kind of like somebody driving around in a BMW or something like that. That can do nothing. Life can only get better and better for us and all of that. Live in their big houses, whatever. Something like that. Not exactly. Not to be biased against. Not to downplay people with those lifestyles, but some of the Atlanteans that were just kind of full of themselves is a good word for it. So we have this higher dimensional power. You have all these skills, abilities. Realize this is like a small part of the population, not everybody. It's never everybody. It's always like a small part that ruins it for everybody. But you have this small part they're kind of like the ones in power to some level. They feel like they can do no wrong. So then you have like these beings that are questionable coming from the universe or the galaxy, where they're kind of reptilian like, look like a tank, look like, they're like a Hummer. But it's like in human form, but it's kind of like a reptilian type hybrid being. It's look like these beings. There's others like that look like they've had some questionable history, and like they might be misunderstood or not understood by the Atlanteans, and the Atlanteans say, we know what we're doing. We're smart and all that. It's like, okay, whatever. That's fine. We'll go live over here. You guys can go do whatever you're doing over there. And you can say there was kind of like some Atlantean beings that don't like that, or it's like, get the hell out of our neighborhood type of thing, something like that. Who's this? And these other, these questionable reptilian beings, I'm just using that for a reference. They could be like a hybrid of all kinds of other stuff. And they kind of play stupid to see what the Atlanteans can do. Like, see their power. It's like, okay, like the Atlanteans would get so pissed off at them. For them just, screw, because these beings are just doing what the hell they want, right? To a certain level. And Atlanteans will like attack them. And with that attack, the reptilian beings like step back. It's like, oh, okay, you guys won. we know we stepped over our bounds. We'll step away. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they're like murdering people. I don't think so. But it's like, okay, we'll step back. We'll leave you alone. You won. All of that. And then like time passes, Atlanteans kind of forget, and then these reptilian beings attack them. I mean, hit them hard. I mean, hit them like they have never felt like anything before. And then the Atlanteans begin to lose their powers. See, that's the thing. So basically, Atlanteans were not very protected. That's what it comes down to. They walk around all arrogant, all posh and pretty, and they're kind of so arrogant. And you have Palladians and all that. Again, you can say it rubbed off on other beings too, that they're always going to be fine, which is kind of naive. It's really naive. So, and you can say the attack on the Atlanteans really lowered their vibrations, obviously, but they couldn't connect anymore. So you have these disconnected Atlanteans that are kind of like fucked up. They're all arrogant still, and like a long story short, that's when like they bring in like pyramid technologies, to regain their abilities, but they're kind of going down the drain at this point. Obviously everyone has their own version of this, but it's basically these beings are showing like you guys aren't all that. It's like, we might be, these beings might be different. It might be obviously questionable, but you're not exactly treating them, because that's how the spirit world is. It's like you have light and dark. And when light thinks it's better than dark will just come kick your ass. Just find some vulnerability to just kick your ass. Just the way it is, just the way it's designed. And so, it's a tough one. But like the Atlantean energies became more corrupt over time. They started losing their abilities more and more, and it just went down the drain. It started becoming like humans, because humans were losing their power, because humans had abilities too to a certain level. And so they're all so Atlanteans are going down to the human level, because not all the Atlanteans are losing that power, but quite a few of them. And so it was. So obviously we're feeling more of the Atlantean corruption that's here. Obviously the beings that caused a lot of this are still here also. Well, it's just like they're going to beat us up until they figure out, until they feel like we can, grow up basically, so we can become more aware of all this stuff. So we can see the beings that can't be seen. You obviously see dark entities are here, aliens are here. The idea is for us to evolve so we can see not just the bad ones, but the good ones also, to see everything. That's what we're here to evolve into. And, you can talk about all the past and everything about, alien group, secret space programs and all of that. That's fine. But the idea is to have, change our reality where we see these beings, instead of saying this is right, that's wrong, and whatever. Like, who cares? The idea is so we don't have to have all this manipulation here anymore. That's like, I guess you call it the end game, I guess. So obviously people are working for the aliens to come and save us and all this, but we have to get to their level. And it's up to humanity to evolve internally, which we are doing. Some are doing, most are obviously not. This is all like witchcraft and everything, right? Jeez. Well, obviously that the beings that are controlling our society, obviously. I guess you can say some of them, some of the Atlanteans feel like they're never going to get their powers back. So they might as well just, this is their kingdom. As long as they're at power here, they're gods. And, because everywhere else they're not seen as anything. Nobody cares. But here, they're seen as all that. So, yeah, other worlds don't care about, like, how much money you have and all the gold you're wearing. Some worlds might care, but most don't. But here, all that matters. So obviously they flaunt it a lot. So, but yeah, at least this is one version of all this. Like I said, Atlantean etiquette, it's kind of complicated. It doesn't have to be. Now I don't know where this is all going, but basically those in the past just, and you can see it now. You see a lot of arrogance currently. Things haven't changed all that much. So closed-mindedness, and that's what it was back then. I think some people actually worship Atlantean energies and all that. They might have been part of the upper class. That's why they can remember stuff in this lifetime. They weren't really part of the wars, because there are some Atlanteans that were more of a higher frequency, kind of like an Arcturian energy, where they weren't involved with all the drama. Well, which is good. They weren't pissing everybody off, because some of them were, and they're the ones that went down with the ship. So, we have all these supercomputers. We have all this. We're all powerful. Who are you guys? And it's like, okay, we'll show you what kind of people we are. So, well, the idea is for like a reptilian group to get attacked like that. Yeah, you want to see your power. You want to see your vulnerabilities. They want to make you feel like you won, and then it's all about patience too. It's like, hey, yeah, you guys won, we lost, and he gives it like a month, maybe a year, whatever, and then they come out of nowhere. So, and it being, like the elite here are that. I mean, they're powerful but not powerful. I mean, they're arrogant. But not, I mean, really, have all the security around them, right? It's still not that powerful. Yeah, they might be aware psychically and all of that, but once again, their arrogance tries to hide their vulnerabilities, so it's complicated. They like to be intimidating and all of that nonsense. That's why they hide behind these big houses and all that shit. Yeah, somebody's gotta love them. Somebody buy everybody to care for them. So yeah, and then at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit about them. So, and they know that. So it's up to the people to become more aware of all this, especially the alien stuff. Just, I don't know how that's all gonna work. Who knows? They'll have a movie of the week or something. Maybe not. Who knows? We just keep moving forward. That's all we can do. That's how it's hard.com. We have private sessions and schedule. The shop here, it's been very slow today. I have no energy today. Same situation here. Webinar, social networking behind the scenes. Yeah, the Telegram and the Discord. Yeah, feel free to post. I'm not there very often. Or ever. I just post links there because I'm doing other stuff, but do as you wish. It's open. You can make it as your own. It's all good. Yeah, those are having discussions in there. I'm glad they can do that. It's awesome. I really appreciate that. So obviously it's like one piece of a massive puzzle of the Atlantean energies, but just think of like, we're all hybrid beings. We're all kind of like custom cars, our bodies. We're all this DNA where we're all kind of unique in our own way. I know it's kind of weird saying that, but it's kind of like that. So it's one way of looking at it. And, you have reptilian beings that are built like a tank. It's all this hybrid, some of it's like rare DNA where they can mess with people and stuff like that. And they don't have to mess with other beings, but if you show arrogance or you show weakness, they will mess with it. And that's what's happening here now. Those are dark entities and all that people don't like to talk about, obviously, because it's creepy as hell. But they just go after people's vulnerabilities. The more you become aware of it, as people are doing shadow work, they're making peace with it. These beings can't do this anymore. But it's kind of like you make peace with it. They're still going to be here, but they can't get to you anymore. And that's the point of it. So people don't go crazy like they're in a relationship, then they go psycho and throw somebody out the window or whatever. Without going into details of all that, So it's like, Just all of a sudden you have this normal person, and then they just lose it one day. That's these entities fucking with people. They get into your mind and they run you into the ground. So, and we're not taught any of that stuff. That schools aren't going to teach that. Maybe one day they will. They should. It'd be like spiritual school. Yeah, school, like college school, would be open all day long for everybody. We can always learn something, for free. Instead of all of this tuition and all this, and now they're doing the forgiveness nonsense and all. This whole thing is just, it's messed up. It is backwards, obviously. So, going to the Atlantean energies. So a lot of the Atlanteans are also angels. That's why some people might not trust them. That's the other thing is trust. You don't have to trust anybody, but it's up to you. You can trust. You gotta trust that. You can do whatever you want. If you don't want to trust anybody, go right ahead. There's always another incarnation here for you if you want. If you want to get through this life, or you just want to do it over again. Well, not over again, but it's because it's like, I didn't trust everybody. Then you end up recycling back again. I don't think people want to do that. Obviously, you got to work at your own vibrations on all that. So, but yeah, it's a tough game. But the players here the beings that are doing this went to town. It's like once the world lost itself, obviously, right? It's like it was free for all. They can do whatever the hell, put soul traps here, create religions to screw people up. It just did everything. They did everything they could just to make things as confusing as hell. And so the big thing is to see religion, if that is in a timeline of that dying out, fading out would be just insane. Just seeing that clear out. Of course, they have the alien religions, which isn't much help. A lot of times it's worse. So that's like worshiping alien beings, which a lot of religions doing that right now. But it's like they think it's better too. It's like, look, I'm connected to the aliens, and like your version of Elvis and all that, that the reptilian being or whatever. Are you ever going to get out of this? Who knows? You just put it out there, put whatever information you have out there. It's up to the people to decide. So, yeah, it's like a whirlpool. It's like quicksand. Is it going to go anywhere? I don't know. Who the hell knows? So, all right, going to the Atlantean energies and go to the elf realms. That's the other thing about the elf people. You had elongated heads in the past. It wasn't everybody that had elongated, just some of the people did, Atlanteans, whoever. But having elf-like people is very normal here in our reality. So, and it's in our entertainment, so they're telling us something. It's time to heal. Like Lord of the Rings is kind of like, it's time to start remembering. And people take that stuff really serious. And the Lord of the Rings has like this map and all these different, I don't know anything about any of it, but it's like real super detailed. People are shitting on the new one. Which is funny, the new Rings of Power, it feels like they have all that money, got so arrogant. I guess they just have too much. And so they just got lazy and just, oh well, be interesting where that goes. It's not like we haven't seen any of this before, So, all right, so going to Atlantean energies and go to the elf people, and healing Atlantean frequencies. Once again, a lot of the Atlanteans went to Agartha, and so on, and they're part of like creating some of our mythical beings. Doing all their experiments. I can definitely see that. So, so. All right, blessings. Here we go. Grace you. We have the Atlantean frequencies. Realize also there are gatekeepers keeping much of your knowledge away from you, as you know, but it's not mentioned often. The gatekeepers are usually those of wealth. A lot of times they don't want to expose themselves, their own vulnerabilities. I mean, there's a lot more that's remembered of the Atlantean energies, even through psychics, through intuitives, things like that. More of the pieces are coming together, but they're a little bit afraid to put some of this out there because I feel like people remember too much where they will lose power, where the elites will lose their power. Well, actually, it will help with the ascension, so they're actually holding back on it. I would just let you connect to those frequencies, use your own feelings of this, but you probably feel like something's being held back. And great, look at Egypt. A lot is being kept back of that. You're not being told the full story. You see these Egyptian energies all scattered around. Is it in France and Rome, and obviously even in the United States, they're having a lot of Egyptian type of structures being built. So they're not telling you everything, but they are showing because a lot of the Atlantean energies went into the Egyptian frequency. So basically, you have currently Atlantean. Well, basically all of you are Atlantean ancestors in some form or another. Not that everyone has a deep connection with them, but quite a few of you do. Well, obviously, those in power are well aware of their roots. They might not have all the details. They might not even think of the Atlantean frequencies, but they do connect to the Egyptian and Roman energies for sure. Especially the Babylonians, this is very rare for them to bring it up. The Babylonian frequency, realize you don't have to be Babylonian. You don't have to be Arab to feel you have a Babylonian energy. You can be German, you can be English, and so on. And you know that you're connected to their magic. And obviously, they're using that to conceal everything. But obviously, the spirit realm does have its own rules. It can open up the doorway for your own ascension, or your own awakening. They can turn the wheels quicker than your modern world. As you know in the Bible, you see anomalies, things like that's happening now. It's just not recorded in the same way, but you have miracles happening here all the time. They're just not putting in a fancy Bible. Some people survive car crashes, which is unbelievable because they're angels assisted. They don't put that in the Bible. They're not recording things. So there's always a miracle happening every day. So the spirit realm is alive and well here. Just it's not recognized. Not everyone needs to recognize all the details of it. But realize the spirit world is, yes, with its flaws, but it's not completely ignorant either. It has to let things play out. It can't just give you everything. Sometimes giving you very little and just giving you enough, like breadcrumbs, things of that sort. Obviously, because once you are able to, you are ready to receive on a mature level, you will receive more. But others want it now. There's a lot of adolescents that's still being healed, and they just don't want to hear it. It's like some humans here, it's like, I'm an adult, I know what I'm doing, and the spirit world said, yeah, you might be an adult, but you still have a lot to learn. And obviously the spirit realm do technically say that to the person, and the person technically does hear it, and obviously doesn't like what they hear. So it's like the adolescence still has not healed here just yet. Even with wealth, so comes with a lot of maturity. So, but the elite systems here are breaking down, but not as fast as some. They're becoming more arrogant. I mean, you can say some of the elites would have no problem destroying themselves in front of everyone. You feel like your countries would be destroyed and all that, but your elites would go down with it. They sacrifice their own. So doesn't mean that's going to happen in that way, but you see the deterioration of society, but also those that built that structure. The individuals that did that are going down with it. Well, for example, like a current presidency that's corrupt, there are a lot of individuals behind that. It's kind of like a Hollywood thing. They created that individual, And when that individual goes down, they go down with it. So okay, now we need to find another job, or they just check out altogether. So it's little by little you get to understand how this is all pieced together. It's a complicated puzzle. Reality is a storm, and it's like a windstorm. And you put information out there, of what's happening here. It doesn't always travel well because so many people are fighting the storm. They're fighting reality, trying to survive, trying to live, trying to think clearly. And so knowledge is put here, but you know what you need to know will find its way to you. It will circle to you eventually. It doesn't. Yeah, it's like you have your awakening. There's more to this, and it's true. That means the timeline for you to connect to your knowledge is out there. It's been created, and it's not always created for everyone because some aren't ready to discover themselves. Remember themselves like wings, and they look like a gargoyle or some kind of other being. Or yeah, remember themselves as a bat or an angel, whoever it might be. How many people are ready for that? Of course, children remember those type of things, but then they call that imagination, which actually they're just connected to their soul memory. This is what they brought with them. And of course, even with children, when they're scared of certain beings, well, it's just, they know them. Those are kind of like bullies. It's like you have like a little kid, defenseless, and he's surrounded by bully beings already. You don't have to take him to school. You just have to bring him into this world. But it's up to the parents of the future will soon realize that to protect the energies of their kids themselves. And all this negative energy will eventually come down. Obviously, humans have to change their lifestyles a little bit, which many choose not to. Some are, but very few are. Because you can protect the kids, of course. You can still protect them. Obviously, society is not designed for that. So, well, the idea of why it's not designed for that, because it's like if you can't handle it here, get out. This world is not for you. This is the Wild West. Yeah, this is the forbidden zone, basically. But it doesn't have to be that way. Greetings to you with the Elf Collective. Yes, as much of energy as we can't always go into details about ourselves, how we are connected to you, but we are the link to your higher DNA, basically to who you truly are. Basically, our DNA that you technically have within yourself can be activated, where you become, in a form like a immortal, as you would say. But you become less dense and you live in different realities. I mean, you live in this reality, you live in others also. Yeah, it gets kind of complicated in the long run because here you can live like for 30 years, but then you live in other realms. It gets a little bit complicated, but some do want to live for 1,000 years. Usually that's like a wizard being. Usually it's your ancient ones that feel like they need to live for a long time for their reasons because they feel like no one else can do what they can do, and a lot of times that's the truth. But for a lot of other beings, usually living to like 30 isn't so bad. Realize this is in a higher dimension, so you actually live like a couple hundred years in your realm, like 300 years. So, but it's like 30 years in your realm. That's a short version of it. There's more to it than that. Obviously, those times go very fast. Your lifetime goes fast. But realizing you have connections to the trees and beings, and you just have a more understanding of reality. And it's hard for anything. I mean, the idea is for you to keep your vibration at that level. Because there are beings that do show up every once in a while to lower your frequency, to pull you into a realm like this. So it happens every now and then. But this is why you have villages and you connect to each other. You share each other's knowledge to each other. This way you have community. So you all work with each other. Especially after a world like this. When you heal a world like this, community is key. You're just protecting yourself and keep raising your frequencies. Doesn't mean the whole world has to be in one giant community, but each, because there'll be some places where some people just need their darkness, but others, and that's becomes like kind of like an Agarthian realm. You have your light side of your world and your dark side of your world. And you have that now, but obviously the dark side is scattered everywhere because humans are unaware of themselves. Even so, as you raise your frequency, it depends on who you are. Yes, you can have your pointed ears if you want to become more elf-like, depending on who you are. Even tree people kind of be elf-like to a certain level. We do have a love for music, not just because it helps our vibrations, it's just so you just enjoy it, dancing, partying, and just, yes, living more of a simpler life. But there is always a battle to be fought, though, especially on your world. Just like you would see in Lord of the Rings. There's always some kind of, threat to heal. Not everybody has to be dealing with it, but quite a few will. Well, this is when you come out of the lower frequencies of your world. You become more aware of the darkness that's here because now you see it instead of it just being a mythology here. And then you go to the next evolution of where you live more at peace. But then, of course, when you start living at peace, someone was like, okay, where's my next challenge? So, blessings.